John, I gotta bug out like 6.
Okay, yeah, no, feel free. I'll just cruise through this. How you doing?
How's it going?
Good to meet you.
Steve.
Steve, I'm Sean.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Cool. All right, so we're just getting started. We're going to broadcast this via Hangout, so there could be some remote people popping in here to join, and then also that means it'll automatically record it as a YouTube video. So let me share my screen. Whoa. All right. Okay, so what we're going to be doing today, so this is the Phoenix ActiveCampaign users group. We're going to go through some training I did. I basically put together a little mini course that teaches folks how to move from Infusionsoft to ActiveCampaign. And so I figured today we won't do the whole thing. I mean, it's a few hours of training, but I figured I could condense it down and like give you the meat of that course today, and then opportunity to do any kind of interactive Q&A. I mean, if something doesn't make sense while we're doing it. But like the easiest way to teach this stuff to me is always to actually go through it. And so what I did was I just took a campaign out of the Infusionsoft marketplace and ported that into ActiveCampaign. And in that process, we had to go through things related to tags and importing the list, and how their concept, there is no concept of a follow-up sequence in ActiveCampaign. But you can emulate that through automations and starting and stopping, like invoking another automation. So that's kind of the method we're going to use here. This is the training. I'm logged in as administrator, so you'll see the back end of this. But this is basically the course that I'm talking about right here. I use a system called Teachable, which is really cool for doing an e-course. But I figure what I'll do is just kind of gloss over, give you like a high-level overview of what is entailed in that, and then we'll actually just step through it and go through the process of moving a template here. So yeah, so this is, I wish I could make that bigger. I'm not sure why it's so small up there, but let's see. Anyone have any ideas on why that might be small? I think, well, it is what it is. So that's our screen that we got to work with here. This is the curriculum for the course. I don't know if you can, probably can't read that very well. Basically, you've got some preparatory exercises, some housekeeping stuff. Then I dig into essentially like a comparison of the concepts from Infusionsoft to ActiveCampaign to help map those over. And there's some things that just don't map at all. For instance, ActiveCampaign has this concept of lists that Infusionsoft does not. So that's this part. I'm not gonna actually go through that tour, but that's something where it's free to take this course if you want. Jeff, I know you're already enrolled in it. There's actually 40 people enrolled in it already, which is pretty cool because I just launched it. But yeah, highly recommend going through that. It'll give you a really good feel for, if you're used to Infusionsoft, make a mental model of how ActiveCampaign relates and how it's different from Infusionsoft. And then the meat of the course here is this end part. And basically, I know you can't read that, so I'll read it out loud. It's got these 6 or so steps here. And this is what we're going to do today. And what it is we're going to take this free report campaign out of the Infusionsoft marketplace. We're going to install that in our Infusionsoft account. And then I'm going to go and rebuild the web form in ActiveCampaign. We're going to integrate that into our website. We're then going to rebuild the follow-up sequence in ActiveCampaign, rebuild the goal functionality that ActiveCampaign doesn't have. And then we're going to test it all out, confirm that it works. And if you want to see how to go and get more of this, I'll show you that at the end. So that's what we're going to do. Any questions? Sound good? All right. Cool. So first things first, kind of hot. First things first, we're gonna go get the template from the Infusionsoft marketplace. So I'm actually going to log in a different browser. Whoa. So this is Infusionsoft. Are you guys all familiar with Infusionsoft? Has everyone here seen it? Yeah. Okay. And actually, maybe because I don't really know you, can you just give me like your situation, just 20 seconds on like what it is?
Yeah.
And,
I use Infusionsoft right here.
okay.
And I used to work there.
Okay. Perfect.
And then now I want to resell ActiveCampaign as a white label.
Okay. Perfect.
Just set up everybody when they go through my done for you stuff, but use that as the base.
Perfect.
Because it's way cheaper. Basically has all the good features that everybody needs. So.
Right. Yeah, no, literally, I have yet to find something that I can't do, with the exception of like maybe one or two things. Like they don't have the concept of linked contacts the way the Infusionsoft does, but literally, other than that, and the fact that like their campaign builder maybe isn't quite as polished, but you only use that when you're setting stuff up, so it really doesn't matter. So, okay, okay, good deal. So this is where we go. We're going to go into the campaign builder here in Infusionsoft. And I've already got this campaign imported. If I didn't, I would just go up here to get campaign templates. And you can just start free report. It'll come up. This one. So it's already installed though, so I'm just going to go open it. Okay, so now this is the campaign. It's really simple. It's this thing doesn't do anything in Infusionsoft. These are just purely cosmetic, but it's basically saying someone comes from your website, fills out a form. You can tell it's a form by virtue of clicking on that. But they basically fill out this web form here, and it's going to pop them into this follow-up sequence. And the follow-up sequence is very simple. It's just going to add a tag. It's going to send them, their free report. I modified it just for the sake of being able to demonstrate, because it didn't have this delay timer in the vanilla, the regular install. But I just added like a 3-day delay timer and then said, you forgot to download, because this is kind of silly to have this with a goal after it if there's nothing else going on to then stop. So I tweaked it a little bit, but this is what we're going to basically be migrating over. So let's do that. So I'm going to go into our ActiveCampaign account here.
Sean, if you change the resolution on your, would that help?
I don't know. It might be that. So it's that screen is that computer. It's not my screen, and so I'm thinking that's why it's small up there. For the folks on the Hangout, I think it's going to be full resolution. I mean, I don't know how we make it any bigger up there, and short of getting that HDMI cable and plugging it in.
The other trick there is actually zooming out might help too. What's the aspect ratio?
So maybe I can just go over here and
pull that HDMI cable. Yeah, it's pretty long.
I don't know if that's going to jack up the Hangout. I guess we don't have any attendees, so it's not a big deal. Let's try that. Maybe pull over the wheel. Just grab this. Okay, that's better here. Could someone do me a favor and go to grid7.com/hang and just see if it's still coming through? What's that? Oh, wait a minute. So I'm completely confused at this point. I honestly don't know what's going on at this point. So that's what's on the Hangout? How do we just make this one not broadcast? We want it to come from this computer.
Yeah, that's the case now.
Oh yeah, so it is coming from this computer. All right, so I just need to share my screen again. Here we go. Present to everyone. And then I think that'll do what we want. Okay, cool. All right, so is that better? Yeah, way better. Yeah, you can actually see it now. All right. Okay, so first step here is we're gonna basically move this web form into ActiveCampaign. And so they have a new thing in ActiveCampaign. It isn't even rolled out to everyone yet. I got on the beta, so I basically got a sneak preview of it, but this is what's coming. It's their new form builder. So yeah, let's go through this. So this is my ActiveCampaign instance. I use it to run like a handful of different things out of here, including this course. And so I set up one, oops, let me go back. So I set up this list called ACM Sandbox. So ActiveCampaign Mastery Sandbox that we'll use for the purposes of this. And let me just go in and delete these test contacts. Okay, all right, so now we're gonna go build this form. And these are already in there because as a part of this course, I actually, when I build this stuff, I'll syndicate the automations to the people who go through the course. So I'm going to leave those in there. This is actually already done, but I'll create a new one and we'll call it Phoenix ActiveCampaign User Group Demo. It's going to be an inline form because it's going to be embedded in the web page. When they sign up to it, they're going to go into this list, the ACM. Ooh, you can't see it down there. Hide. Ooh. ACM Sandbox, and that's it for now. And it's this god-awful teal color by default. I don't know why they did that, but we can get rid of that. That's the first thing we'll change here. Let's go to style. I'll take the ActiveCampaign branding off of it, and we'll make it a less terrible color, like white. And then, of course, the text goes away, so let's make the text a little darker there. And then let's look at this form that we're moving over here and let's see what it is. So this is the Infusionsoft form builder, and it's got first name, email, the title of the form, and then the button says email me a copy. So we're just going to basically replicate this. So let's grab the name of the form. And I'm not going to personalize it the way they did. We're just going to make this simple here. Okay, we don't need that. So here you can see the ActiveCampaign form has a full name, but we just want to grab the first name here. So I'm going to edit that, get rid of this guy. We'll add, let's find first name. Okay, first name, email. Okay, let's make the button say what it does over here. Email me a copy. Okay, so that should be good. We've got our form now, so let's go, and now we're putting this into the website. So just like Infusionsoft has the capability to do this a couple ways, you can do it via JavaScript or HTML or unstyled. We're going to actually do this as like a div, an embedded div in the page. So I'm just going to grab this code right here, copy it. I'm then going to go to my website. And let's go and create a page. All right, I'm going to paste that code in here. And now let's look at that page. Okay, so there's our form. It's on our website now. If we submit this, we can just test it out. Test. and just confirm that this, and you can see that it's there. That form now has one entry. If we click through it, it's not actually going to show, oops. Let me go to lists. So here's where we go. So the ACM sandbox list now shows is having one contact in it. Although if you go in here, you'll see there's nobody in there. And so this threw me off the first time I did it. I was like, that's weird. But here's what it is. The forms by default use double opt-in. And so you have to go back and set this. Like if I open my email right now, you'll see, hopefully no dirty messages, but you'll see that opt-in that opt-in email. Okay, so as soon as I click this, I'm now opting in, and if you see, if you'll go back here and I'll go to the list now. There's my contact record. So it reflects it as being a contact, but it actually doesn't show it to you in the list until they double opt in. So it's not, and I'm gonna show you real quick how to disable that, because I don't, to me, it's like it's not a problem until it's a problem. So disable it. In my opinion, they should disable it by default, and then you should be able to enable it if you want. It's just a more conservative way, the way they chose to do it. So let's edit this, and let's go. It's at the very bottom under options. You can say, where is it here? Oh yeah, this little gear by opt-in confirmation. Turn that off and save. Okay, so now save and exit. So now that's good. Now in the future, if you sign up, it's just immediate sign up. You don't have to double opt in. Okay, so in terms of where we're at on the syllabus here, we just rebuilt the web form and we just integrated it into our website. So far, so good? Everyone got it? Okay, so now we're doing this one. We're rebuilding the follow-up sequence and email. So let's go look at that. Oops. Isn't there a way to scroll? Is it shift? Oh, there we go, shift. Okay, so so here is Infusionsoft's concept of a follow-up sequence. So this is a series of things that get kicked off when you do something. And basically think of a follow-up sequence. It's just, it runs until you stop it. So, and when you hit a goal, it's going to stop everything to the left of it and start everything to the right of it. So ActiveCampaign doesn't have this concept. It's there is no notion of a follow-up sequence. But what it does have is the ability to do automations that can invoke other automations. So let me show you how to recreate this now. So we're in the automations tab of ActiveCampaign. We go new automation, and I'm just going to call this Phoenix ActiveCampaign user group follow-up sequence. Okay, and I'm going to leave this blank. This is what triggers it here. So I just want to show it to you first, and then we can edit it. So this is basically, this is the same screen as this. You're inside that follow-up sequence now in Infusionsoft, and this is the equivalent screen in ActiveCampaign. So the way that this thing gets started in Infusionsoft, this gets started by virtue of being here, connected with this arrow from the web form. In ActiveCampaign, this gets started by the start trigger. So we're going to add a start trigger here, and we're going to say this happens when someone subscribes to that list, the sandbox list. And it's going to run once. There's just different settings here. Don't worry about it for now. But we set that start trigger, and now it says, okay, so what do you want to do when that happens? So let's look at our thing here. We want it to apply a tag. What tag? This tag. So in my opinion, this is kind of a kludgy way of doing, like, typically you want to have a naming convention with your tags because it can get out of hand pretty quick. So I'm going to rename this tag. Let me just grab the name of it though. and I'm going to rename it and call it I'm just going to do, I have like a method where I'll preface it with what list it's related to, so ACM sandbox, and then I do log. I use these parentheses as like a nested notation, and then now we'll do the tag. So we'll go boom, got it. What's the next thing we need to do is send this delivery. So this is going to send an email. Let's look at that email. Here it is in Infusionsoft. So I'm just going to grab the body of this thing, and let's go recreate that in ActiveCampaign. So have it send an email. We're going to build it from scratch. They have all these templates for pre-built stuff, but we're just going to do a simple like text-based one here. Here's your free report. You can get rid of this default image. They basically just give you some default content so you're not starting from scratch. But I'm going to paste in the body of that email, and then we have to change a few things. So here is Infusionsoft's version of how they personalize first name. So we're not going to use that. We're going to actually insert first name here from the personalization, this little menu up here. It lets you pre-populate stuff. So I'm going to take this out because we don't have like different versions of this free report. So earlier today you requested our free report, blah, 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 get it here. So I'm just going to change this link. And I mean, I would recommend putting it like in a Dropbox account or wherever. I'll just pick, oops, I'll just grab something out of my Dropbox. Let's just pretend that like this is a presentation, so I'll just say this is the link. So go in here, edit the link. Oops. Okay. And if you need to change the subject, you can do that. You click this little gear, you can edit it there. But so far so good. So this should be the email that we just duplicated. Looks good. And let's go save it. And you always want to send yourself a test. So I'm just going to send a quick test. We probably want to use a different address so it doesn't go to spam. Let's go look at it. And good deal. So yeah, so that's the email. It's all set up, and we can say finish. All right, now to recreate the rest of this, we want to do a delay timer at this point. So in this follow-up sequence, we have a 3-day delay, and then we send another email. So let's just do that real quick. It's very easy. Hit the little plus button here. Say, give us a wait 3 days, and then send another email. And I'm not actually going to create another email. We'll just, obviously you would send a different one, but we'll just duplicate that one and use it. All right. So that is the follow-up sequence. We've just duplicated this now. So let's look at what happens now in the syllabus, where basically we just did this part. So we're now on to building the goal functionality of this follow-up sequence. So here we get to this. Infusionsoft has different goals based on stuff. This one is a link click goal. And again, you always know that, like on all these little icons, you can click in the lower left, and that tells you what type it is. So if we click on it, it's showing you that this goal is triggered when they click that link in the email. So let's go basically recreate that. So the way we do this is we create a new, oh, and by the way, actually real quick, you'll notice that this thing is inactive by default. So this always gets people. And it's a good idea they do this. It's like a kind of like a safety on a gun. It's like they leave it on safety by default. You have to activate it for this to actually do anything. But if you go to test your automation and it doesn't do stuff, like I know this got us in the accelerator when we did that, you got to make sure that you activate it, because you're going to just bang your head and wonder why it's not working. So, okay, so that's our follow-up sequence. Now let's create essentially the goal here. And I would recommend calling these like follow-up sequence and goal, just so you remember what's what, because automations like tags can just become a rat's nest and you'll forget what's what. So I'm gonna call this Phoenix ActiveCampaign user group goal met. Okay, so what's gonna trigger this? This goal is gonna be triggered when someone clicks a link in an email, and it's not just any email, it's this email. And it's not just any link, it's this link. And it's gonna run once. So we add that as a start trigger, and now this, anytime that happens, it's gonna fire this thing off. The job of this thing, all it is to stop that other sequence. So the very next thing it does is conditions and workflow. It's gonna end, not this automation, but the other automation. So it's gonna end the requested free report sequence. Does that make sense? So when this happens, it's going to stop that other thing the exact same way as when this happens, it stops everything before it. It's just there's no concept of like this linked together flow here. You kind of have to keep that in memory. But this is actually a far better way to do it, in my opinion. This is like modular. You can reuse these things anywhere. And they don't have to be in sequence the way that this does to work. So the only other thing, like what else is happening here, is this last follow-up sequence. So when this goal is met, it stops everything to the left and it starts everything to the right. This is the next thing that runs, and all this is doing is removing that tag that had been applied and adding this one. So we can basically just we can recreate this real quick just for the sake of doing this all the way. So this ends that other thing, and now it's going to go into, it's going to add a tag. And then it's going to remove that other tag. Now, in terms of whether this is a good idea, I beg to differ with this request report. I think this is like a terrible way to do it. Like, frankly, just you never want to destroy information, and removing a tag like this, there's nothing this accomplishes that you couldn't accomplish by just adding more tags. And instead, this is just like getting rid of information, so then you don't know when they requested it like that. So I think this is like not a good idea, but for the sake of just replicating this thing exactly, this is accurate. So let's activate it, and we should be good. So let's just test this thing end to end now. We're at this part of the syllabus. We're on the last little step here, test it out, confirm that it works. So let's go in. I'll reload this page. And we'll just call this Sean test 2. Mail me a copy. Oh, you signed up for the course. Let's see why it's not. This is, let me just show you something also real quick. So you can see where people are at in automations. If I click through to the contact record, this is a useful trick for just like troubleshooting stuff. You give it a second, and then it pulls in a history of events here. This is essentially like a news feed. Well, actually, let me do it on the one we just made. So this is the one we just submitted. All right, so this is our activity feed here. It shows everything in sequence that's happened to this contact, from the forms they filled out to the list they subscribed to. And here you can see it's sent the report. I want to show you, this is where you can see what automation someone's in right now. And it shows you how far they are in the sequence. And if you click on this, it actually shows you a visual, which is kind of a nice thing. It shows you where they're at in the process. And so this is super handy when your sequences get complex. You can see where, like, exactly where these people stand in the flow. So let's go look if this worked. Hopefully, there it is. Here's a report, and you can see. So I'm here at this point. I'm waiting 3 days. 3 days from now, if I were to do nothing, I would get this email, but I'm not. I'm actually going to go click on it. And I'm not actually going to download this keynote presentation, but I could. And now if we go back in here, there may be a bit of a lag until that fires, but let me go. Okay, now you can see right here that it goal met, so that fired. So it detected the link click. It fired this automation, which was just very simple, so it's already complete. But as of what that did, and you can look at this in the activity feed, is that it ran and it stopped. Let's see. Should have stopped the other automation. Did it? No. Let's see why that didn't work. Sequence. This is another handy troubleshooting technique. You could, this thing right here, view contacts, you can always tell who's in an automation. So it's odd that I'm still in that one. Wondering why that is. Oh, yeah, did I just succumb to my own thing that I warned you guys about? Let's see. Yeah, it's active. Let's see. Requested free report. Exit automation. Sandbox requested free report. Huh, that's interesting. I have no idea. It shouldn't do that. All I can think is if there's some kind of like delay for this firing. Okay, so yeah, there was a little delay there while it processed. So if we go and look now at my contact record, another way to get to it is just by searching here. And yet I don't know why it's not in the activity feed there. Anyways, take my word for it, that will stop. Demo gods are not being nice. This will stop the follow-up sequence the exact same way that it would if you were Infusionsoft. So, so that delay timer will not fire at this point. So, all right, well, so sorry I didn't actually reflect that, but I've done this plenty of times for the training and it worked every other time, so I'm not sure what went wrong here. But anyways, that's kind of that's how you recreate it. Any questions? Cool. And I don't think there's anybody on the Hangout, so let's just check. Nope, no questions on the Hangout. So yeah, no, I mean, is there any other questions about ActiveCampaign? Is it regards to Infusionsoft?
Gotta figure out. Because that's the most I've done so far. So.
Really?
Yeah, I signed up.
Yeah, I mean, things I can tell you that I've noticed from it, the linked contacts, there is no concept of that. So if you relied on anything with that, I mean,
most time it's pretty, pretty standard stuff. I do a lot of like automated webinar build outs.
okay.
You're going like with Stealth somewhere.
No, but so they,
Plug it in there.
yeah, ActiveCampaign has a lot of Zap. Like they're integrated with Zapier, so you get everything that Zapier has. I know they have like Ninja.
Yeah.
There's a couple of these.
It's not like a big one. I mean, it's a trial. Is there like a place to have all the different like inside ActiveCampaign?
They did for a while.
Yeah, they moved it.
I think they
Yeah, so ActiveCampaign had a deal with Zapier for a while where you just got unlimited Zaps by virtue of being an ActiveCampaign customer. They got rid of that, and now you have to actually go make a Zapier account and use that. But it's free for like.
Oh, it's free.
Not completely, but it's a good portion of like I don't pay for it yet on that Grid 7 account. I still,
80% of the apps are going to be free.
there's some premium ones. Yeah.
It's an e-commerce platform that's typically premium.
How do they charge the per number of apps or for?
Yeah, it's a bulk. It's been a while since I looked at the pricing.
They don't have a category here for webinars, which is surprising, but I know like I've seen, I think Stealth is on here, Stealth Seminar.
David, does ActiveCampaign have API for users?
Yes.
Okay, so that's part of the
API. Zapier's like, let's see, it's free for 5 apps, so it's like 5 configurations of this action, that action. That's free. It runs every 15 minutes. It does your task. Not a lot. And then it goes to task. So that's one action. So someone does one step. Yeah. No. So, I mean, the highest listed price is $100 a month. That does 125 apps and 50,000 actual tasks. And it's instant task, 5-minute task execution.
Yeah, so you're paying for like faster checking and more capacity, basically.
But it is reliable. That is the one thing.
It's freaking awesome, and you can play back. I like the fact that like with Gravity Forms and stuff, it's like you never, instead of integrating directly into a system like ActiveCampaign, because if for some reason like that network connection is bad or the ActiveCampaign server is down, if it doesn't get in there, if you're sending it to the Zap, it'll queue it up and then it'll replay it on its own. And you can also have a history then if you ever need to like something changed and you need to then like go replay back the last 20 contacts, it'll just reinsert them all. You can like DVR it essentially. Yeah. All right, cool. So I'm gonna end the Hangout, and since there's no questions.